Organizers of the mayor's Big Bang celebration for the 4th of July have announced there will be a fireworks display in spite of the COVID-19 pandemic. The plans were announced after weeks of consideration on whether or not to hold the annual event sponsored by HEB. But of course, you can expect some changes. Canceled events include the Family Fun and Music Zone, the parade, the Harbor Bridge Light Show, and the essay contest. Chairman of the committee says it will still be a fun event for the entire family. The fireworks will be launched from a barge just north of the People's Street T-head at 9:30 that Saturday night, July 4th. The city is encouraging everyone to socially distance, stay in your car if possible. Police have not finalized traffic control plans at this point, but of course when they do, we'll be sure to update you.